Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Smothered Post-Session Podcast, a.k.a. the podcast all about all things puzzles, puzzle analogies, puzzle paraphernalia.
Very true.
Thank you for that,
We just don't
Lydia.
have a puzzle
You
yet.
are welcome.
But we will
I
have
started
one
the
soon.
analogy.
We have one right here. It's in the mind. We're joined once again by our lovely leading lady, Lydia Winebrenner.
Hi, guys.
And once again, Seth Thompson, our director, and myself, undercaffeinated. I mean, the creator of this.
Whoa.
Yes,
Yeah.
very undercaffeinated.
Lawson.
So excuse me if I have some slow responses.
Oh, that's okay.
We've done a lot of pausing.
Man, I'll tell you what. You were coming out with the gates with some great questions
A
tonight.
lot of dramatic
Oh my gosh.
pauses. Oh yeah, right. So this session was a roller coaster.
It was.
I gotta say this one
fun, though.
Everyone so far has been getting me so excited, but this one I got the tinglies. There's
you got
definitely some
tinglies.
chills. Yeah, there's some chills
Ooh.
going on.
I got you.
Suffice to say that Lenny over here was kind of killing it a little bit.
Yeah, she was killing
Oh,
the game.
guys.
It was great.
Killing it.
Didn't have to
Stop
tell her
it.
much. She was like, just the first take, it was like, yeah, you know what? Do that
Just
same
like,
thing again.
Just do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Except when you can't read the letters that are in front of
Well,
You got a lot
it's
of
a bit
words.
rezealing. It's a bit rezealing.
I'm so mad at myself. So there was a take, and it's like, if you ever hear the outtakes ever, you'll hear this, where it's like everything in this like paragraph was like perfect. It was great.
It was.
Except in like the first sentence, instead of revealing, I said rezealing.
She came up with
Rezealing.
she came up with a new word. There
And
we
I
go.
was like, oh my God. And then we played it back and we're like, yeah, it sounds good. Wait, play it again.
Yeah.
And then we all went, rezealing. Oh my
Seth's
God.
note too. I mean, just do that again. Just don't say
Say
revealing.
rezealing. and then I looked down and I went, son of a biscuit.
Yeah,
oh Lord.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Just say a real word.
What was I was like, I
Good
stumbled
Lord.
over some other stuff like
Yeah, but
There was a
palpable,
lot of
whatever.
stumbling
There was
tonight,
a lot of
but
stumbling,
there was
yeah.
so much good
it was
characters.
really good.
Like, just we found so much about Washburn tonight that was awesome. I
Yeah.
thought.
Gosh,
Yeah.
she's a sassy
this
woman.
is so we've gotten to the point for me, which is great, where this is turning into something that is completely beyond what I was expecting. Like
Good.
while typing this out, it's becoming something so much more, and I love that.
Good.
And
Things are happening that I never would imagine, and I'm like, that's awesome.
I mean, it also goes to show just how solid of a script it is, because the only like, and this is for any TV show, movie, anything, the actors are only as good as the script. If the script sucks, the actors very rarely are able to save it, no matter how
true.
good they're.
Yeah, like
Very
that's
true.
it's the starting phase of pre-production before even pre-production, really, because it's you're absolutely right. If you there are some actors out there who are such a caliber.
That's very true.
Ian McKellen, I would. He could
100%.
read like tomato juice,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah,
ingredients.
yeah.
that
Oh
I
my-
would be in there.
yeah.
I'd be
But
like,
you're watching it for his performance, but it doesn't mean the script
Right.
is any
It
good.
doesn't
No.
mean
He
that
can be good.
But he can make it good.
He can make the
I
movie.
don't-
You can watch his performance and think that's good, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean the movie's good.
But I
tomato puree. Oh, Ian,
No.
you're killing it.
Oh, it's like with like they actually did like a Lord of the Rings read through where they the cast they read it, and Ian McKellen goes, "That's me, Gandalf the Gay," and I lost it. But I was actually I was kind of mentioning this earlier before we even started recording tonight, where I like to go over at least a couple times, maybe a day or so, like prior to a recording session, depending on how much time I have, to just kind of be like, okay, this is what we're doing for the session, so that I know roughly what's going on. So I have an idea of what the character's going through mentally and everything. And I have read
So
through-
you prepare.
yes.
That's great.
An actor
cool,
prepares. That's a book,
You
children.
actually looked at the script? That's awesome.
I know.
Gosh.
I did my acting homework. Thank you. Good night. But I have read through the one part that we did tonight that was rather emotional. I have read through that part and other parts of the script at least like 6, 7, 8 times by now. And every single time, I tear up and I get emotional. Every time I go, I know what's happening. I know it's coming. Why am I getting emotional? It's like your favorite book. Like, I could read The Chronicles of Narnia, specifically Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, a million times. I know that book really well. I just know the series well. That, like, I'm like, I know Aslan is gonna come back, but I get so emotional, and I'm like, he goes on the stone slab, and I'm like crying waterfalls, and then I'm like, he came back, and it's just, like, that's pretty much what happened with this script. It's so strong because even though I have seen this script a bunch. Not as much as you have, because
anybody has.
Been through some variations.
But I've seen it enough times to be like, I know what happens. Okay, like this is this part where this thing happens, and I still get emotional every time, and it's genuine.
I love that.
And that's just how
so
good
much.
the script is.
And I mean, again, that harkens back to what I was just saying about this is becoming so much more than just the text. It's being brought to life before our very eyes.
Well, I got to say something about that. I'm so happy that you're saying that and that's coming out of your mouth, because you got to understand from my perspective. So I'm the director, and so I'm sitting there, and the problem with that is I'm sitting right next to the writer. So if you've ever written anything before, as you're writing, you have very clear things played out in your head. You know what you want to see and kind of hear. So for me, sitting next to the guy who wrote the thing, I kind of try and gauge his looks sometimes, and like I just catch like a side glance if he's like, doesn't like that one. But mostly I try not to, because I don't want to get too involved there, because then I'm just, we don't, like you said, then you would have just directed it, you know?
Right.
So we don't want to do that, but I'm so happy to hear that it's, because as the director, I was worried that I wasn't going to meet the things that you were looking for through what you were writing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I mean, to me, this is a personal opinion of myself. The whole, it's extremely impressive when you see just an impeccable film, and it's written by, directed by, starring.
Yeah.
I personally, and maybe it's because I've never gotten to that, the upper echelons of that level of creativity where you have that much backing and that much clout. But to me, right now where I am, I don't like that, because one, it's taking jobs away from people. Yeah. B, you are saying that your vision is so solid, so rock solid, that it doesn't deserve anybody else's input, but you're missing out on so much opportunity to experience something you never imagined.
This place is haunted, by the way.
It's a little haunted.
It's a little haunted. It's fine. It used to be a fire hall.
If y'all see something behind this and we don't,
tag Ghost Adventures.
Probably get somebody to
Zach
check out your house and bring an exorcist, because it's a little. It gets
hide
a little
your kids,
spooky.
hide your wife.
These lights actually are motion censored.
Oh no, I haven't heard that in forever.
There's definitely been some late nights where I hear it go off, or I hear it turn on, which is even worse, and it's just
spooky.
I need to go.
Yeah.
But to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, and then going to what you were saying about as a director, Seth's doing an awesome job, because not only does he, he takes the time to. Don't be modest. Stop it. He's doing a great job, because not only have you taken the time to think about all the characters and talk to us as, the actor with you right there in the moment, but you also have moments where you go, hey, Lawson, any input that you would like to have? And then it still brings the writer back into it to be like, hey, this is still your piece. I know I'm directing it, but I'd like to hear your opinion and go off of that, which is collaboration.
Yeah. Yes, that is. And Seth, you're seeing, you're interpreting things and conveying those things to you, ultimately personifying those things that, again, I never imagined. And there have been times where I never saw it that way, or I never envisioned that way when putting the text onto the paper or the document, 2020 digital age. But it's, and there's sometimes where I really go, whoa, that's not at all how I envisioned it. And I don't care because it's not, that's out of my hands.
Yeah.
It's not.
And that's actually really nice for me too. Is like she just said, like when we actually do speak to each other and we're like, I'm like, Law Dog, you got anything on this line or anything? And when you do come up with something, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what this part needs. So it's fun for me too, because it's something I never would have thought of. So, you know, so it's nice to have you there to be able to
just kind of bounce things off. Right. Yeah. Collaboration is great when you have awesome people who are willing to work and willing to have that back and forth and bouncing things off of each other. When it works really well, it's incredible. You know, it's collaboration when not done well is incredibly frustrating.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we've all been
Yes.
there. It's the beauty and the sin of the collaborative.
The
art.
other awesome thing is when the actor just says, which you did a couple times tonight, just says, I want to do it again.
Yes.
And she's just like, I have an idea. And it's nice for me because I just get to shut up and be like, yeah, do it again. And then she usually comes up with something brilliant and you're like, yeah, that's the one. So that's
thanks.
for me is, I love that. When the actor has an idea, like, and they hear themselves and they're like, nah, I didn't like this.
Always encouraging that for you to go, I can do it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am slowly but surely becoming, again, if you're not aware, I've not really done any voiceover work. So this is a big thing, especially not only just doing it, but also being the leading person, one of the main characters.
You got some lines.
I have
you do some things.
I have hunks of chunks of lines. So I have,
some of those lines are chunks. Let me
they
tell
are
you.
though, because she like the thing about Christina Washburn is that she's da 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 da. She goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. She's very much that cop mentality of tunnel vision. Almost, we've talked about it before, almost lawyer-like.
Yeah.
Where she's very much when she fireworks.
We got
Okay, we have fireworks.
So this has
4th of
been
July coming up.
Something we've been dealing with all night. People are really excited to be patriotic this weekend. This is currently being recorded July 1st, so people are really getting their preemptive fireworks.
It's like one of those memes where you're like me June 30th, me July 1st, and there's a complete difference.
Yeah,
America.
Yeah, right. Somebody bought 4, and they're like, I'm gonna set these up outside. Yeah.
But with Christina, like she's almost lawyer-like, which is funny considering she's a detective. But it's just very much when she's in a room with someone trying to get answers for something, she's very much, I need to know that this is the facts. This is what happened. I need your input. What happened?
Right.
And that's, it's just nice to be able to, like, if I, see something and I'm like, oh, I didn't say that right. Or no, I just didn't feel good about that. I'm starting to slowly but surely become more confident to say, hold up. I know you guys
the
kind of
character wouldn't do that.
No.
Like, that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm like, it feel like Christina would be like, better.
Yes.
And like, there would be times where they were like, yeah, I like that one. I'm like, no, do it again. Yeah. And they're like, okay. It's also fun when I get to make them laugh.
Yes. Yeah, which happens quite often.
Yeah,
Well,
great.
we did one of my favorite scenes we did tonight, which is towards the beginning when you really get a chance to hear Donahue for the first time. And you get to see the relationship between not only Christina, but Donahue, and be like the whole playful banter of like, oh my God, I hate you so much. You jerk. I hate you so much, but I have to work with your desk is right across from me.
You work with him every day.
Like,
Yeah.
You love to hate him.
Yeah,
You hate to love him.
I think what I see is that when Donahue arrived at the precinct and maybe was like, gee, goodness.
There's a lot going on here.
Okay.
Environment
When
is
basically when
making
Donahue
sounds.
comes to the precinct and starts working there, and they meet for the first time and they realize, oh, we're desk neighbors. Oh, you push my buttons. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Right.
Like, it's just like that moment of like, you actually test me. No one else does that. You
Right.
test me, which shows their friendship pretty well. And I just love the banter back and forth because you can just tell they're like, oh, I'm tired and I hate you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
go
They
sit
both-
down.
they both are in the same shoes and they want the same things, but they have different
ways of
perspectives
doing
and
it.
ways about doing that
So-
steps on each other's toes.
Yeah.
It's the good cop, bad cop. It's the polar opposites that have to work together.
And I really loved that Andrew Schiffler, who plays Donahue, he ended up recording that session or most of that scene. So I got to actually hear him
Yes.
in the headphones, and it was incredible.
Most of what Lydia here has done so far is set the bar or has recorded all of her stuff by herself.
First, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first time she got to experience, hey, there's another person.
Yeah.
everyone
It's
else
not
gets.
just
Everyone else has to get to my
reading
level.
the lines. Yeah.
It's true, though.
Not to be my
You've been called out.
guys. No, everyone in this cast is incredible. When we did the first initial read through, and it was just absolutely great to see everyone and be
Yeah,
like,
it was.
"Oh, you're the voice of that. Oh,
that was
yeah,
cool.
you're the voice of that person. Yep, that fits." Like visually, you're like, okay, but then you hear them
Yeah.
again. Emphasis on the hearing part, since that's the whole point of this. But yeah, I got to actually hear him say Donahue's lines, and I was like,
Right, without his presence there.
there's a I can react
Yeah.
now. It's great.
It's completely different when you have that connection with somebody and they're talking and that's them. But when they are portraying a character and it's just their voice and those are the lines being fed to you, you're thinking, "Whoa,
Every small
That's
inflection means something.
it does."
Every voice crack, which
Whether intentional or not.
which has happened to me quite a few times actually. I have gotten a couple of voice cracks, and Lawson goes, "Yeah,
But that's great.
I'm gonna keep that."
Oh, that's great.
You're tired, and that's
the real stuff.
human. Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens when we're tired
Yeah.
and we've drinking
You almost said gasoline. I feel.
We're drinking
We've been
gasoline.
drinking straight turpentine.
I thought you were about to say gasoline. I was like,
When
Lawson,
the
no.
workplace is just that rough. Go to the stronger stuff. No, don't do that.
Oh goodness.
So question for you about Washburn. We're coming back to this whole. She conducts herself as a lawyer. She does these things as a lawyer. Does she want to be a lawyer? Has she thought about being a lawyer? Did she originally want to be a lawyer?
I feel like there are two options. Either she had the intention of being a lawyer and maybe she was on like debate teams and stuff in like school. So she knows how to make an argument.
Yeah.
And she just like, I think that's one option. It's like she like throughout school was just really good at arguing with people and getting the truth out of people.
Right.
Just being like, yeah, no, that doesn't add up. You want to try that again? Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a second time just to see. But I think that was one option. Like she did debates in school and things like that, that could assist her in future of maybe being a lawyer. Maybe there was like a few options, lawyer, detective. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a third option. I hate when I only get to number 2. It doesn't.
Rule of three
I
doesn't
made it
apply.
number
That's okay.
2. But
We're good with 2, yeah.
But I think that's one option. Or perhaps she got into law school and she started going through it and maybe just like it wasn't clicking like she thought it was. Almost like
Sure.
she
She
you know,
was frustrated with
got
it.
frustrated
maybe.
because maybe like between maybe how the professors were doing something and how her fellow students were, she's like, that's not right. Or I think it should be this way. And she knows the law, but then she's like, all right, I know the law, legally know the law, might as well become a detective and like switch over. So she could, in theory, you know, when they go to court, any person of law, like police officer or anything, needs to know some form of the law because they do go to court for cases. So they have to be able to say, in this part of the law, it states this, and then they have to be able to pull that out.
Right.
So she would have known the law either way. I just feel like she knows it in more depths
Than a typical
than
detective
typical
would.
detectives. Because Donahue's like, I don't know.
Loose cannon gun.
He's more of a loose cannon. Is more like, well, he's more like, he's like, I just need to get this done. Da, 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 da. Okay, here's open, shut, done. Open, shut, done. If there is more to it, he'll look into it. But he's like, okay, done.
That's what happens with him in the sense of how swamped he is. It becomes there's a line in this, and it actually was almost the title at one point. There's a line where he says, "This is a numbers game," and
now you know.
and because it's him when the character Washburn is trying to convince him to join her for a particular reason, he says, "We can't. There's no time. There's not enough time. I have all of these open case files. You have all of these open case files. These are just pictures in a folder." And Washburn is there to say, "No, you're doing this wrong." And that's one of your main things that you are trying to do at the beginning, especially to get him to join your side, because even though you don't despise each other, but it's hard to work with each other. If you do work together, you get results. Is that rain?
No,
definitely not.
That's a helicopter.
That's a helicopter. Yeah.
A helicopter.
They heard me talking. I gotta go. I gotta leave.
My people await me.
Yeah, right?
They know I'm here.
I've been practicing my queen wave. I'm off.
Oh, I wish.
So wait. Numbers game was going to be the title?
That was an option.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Inside scoop right here in this moment. I did not know this information.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. That's because the title is one of the most daunting things to do with a story ever. It's because that's the log line before the log line of something. When
It's like-
summarizing, it's boom. What does it say about it?
It's like when you're watching a TV show or a movie and they say the title in it and you go,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
wait a minute. So
Are you sure that's not rain? I think that's weird.
I think that's just fireworks.
fireworks.
Oh, it's one of the sparkly ones.
So
Anyway,
much.
do you personally connect with Washburn? And if so, how do you?
There are definitely times where I do. I'm a very empathetic person. There are almost times where like I can feel how other people are. Like if someone walks past me and I can just sense maybe anger or frustration, I automatically like kind of my body reacts.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a very empathetic person. I'm very much someone who I don't like when people are upset.
You can tell when something's off about something.
Yeah, like I'm not like the best person in the world to be able to read people, but that's one part of being an actor is you have to be able to read the person you're in a scene with.
Right.
That's one of the first things they teach you in acting school. There's actually an exercise where you stand face to face with your scene partner or whoever, and you just look at each other, and you have to look at each other. Like you can blink, but you have to look at the eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul. That is the most true statement.
Right.
And you look at that person in the eyes, and there are times where, and then what it was, it's like you would just, like one of you would just start by saying, "I feel this." And the person would go, "Well, I feel this." Or almost like it was like a question answer. I feel sad. You feel sad. I feel sad. You feel sad. I feel sad. And then eventually it goes deeper to I feel depressed. And then it
Right.
just goes.
It elaborates
It
more and
goes.
more.
And that's the whole point. It's a layers. You peel off the layers. So I definitely am more on her empathetic side where like I said before, where I got emotional, where there were times where I was saying these lines where I was like, God, she's so, like, there's sometimes where she's just so logic side of her brain. I forget what side of the brain that is.
I think it's the right.
I think it's the right. Maybe.
It's the right. It's either one or the other.
Tell us
gotta be one of the
later.
two.
it's either
Yeah,
left
they'll
or right.
correct us.
Yeah,
I'm
tell
sure.
us.
Someone
Tell
will
us.
correct us, but
Yell at us in the comments.
But yeah, no, she's very one-sided for her brain sometimes that you're almost want to like shake her and be like, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop being so focused on the facts when there's a 16-year-old boy sitting here
Right.
who is being interrogated by the police.
Right.
Like any 16-year-old that gets dragged into a police station and is like, so we have questions. automatically,
No matter
what
how
did I
thick
do?
skin they
think they are. So
Right.
I'm definitely more on her empathetic side, but I'm also kind of on her down to business side a little bit, because she's very much, when I get frustrated, I will just look at someone and be like, for the love of God, just tell me,
Right.
what do you want?
Right.
Like, please. So there are bits of her that I definitely can connect to. My godfather is actually a police officer.
Oh.
So part of this is very much like there were things that I kind of already knew, not only via that, but I also watched Cops a lot as an 8-year-old child. I'm not kidding. I watched Cops. I watched all these like chase shows, and my dad's like, all right.
You could talk to me.
Nice.
No, there are things with Christina Washburn that I can connect to, but there's parts of her that I have more questions about, like how she got to this point of just walking into a room with a 16-year-old boy and being like, all right, just do this.
Right.
There's no hope for you.
What experiences has she gone through
Like,
to
what
get to this point?
what has gotten previously, before the script starts? I always want to know what happened before this, whether it's directly before she walked into the room, or if it was, her life in the academy of training, of being a detective. Like, what did she go through to make her so bum, get the info, get the stuff, it's fact, done,
Yeah.
moving on, and sometimes forget
Almost if
she's
it's
human.
a factory system or something.
Yeah,
like
she
that,
almost
where
forgets
that
she's
happens,
human at
And
times.
then that happens, and then this will happen, and this will happen.
And I think part of it, and we've mentioned this previously, the last time I was talking at one of these podcasts, was that it's the burnout. So, and I can definitely feel the burnout. I connect with that.
we
And-
talked about that on another one.
Yeah, we
where
did. Like,
Yeah.
it
changes you.
does. And
Not
I think that's
permanently, but-
possibly something that
No,
she went through.
It
was
alters your character a little bit when you're
Yeah.
under a lot of strain.
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, no,
Is the empathy? Do you think that's something that a lot of people are going to connect with the character about?
I think so. Because even in the moments of me screaming into the microphone, of trying to, be very much in this kid's face at times, just being like, why? Like, I need to know answers. But then underneath of that, you can almost hear in the voice just the desperation of, I just need to know as a human
Mm-hmm.
what happened. Because we're all curious. We all want to know things that,
Sure.
we don't know.
We do.
So I think the empathetic part of Christina, a lot of people will kind of reach for, because that's, at least for most people, is a familiar.
Yes, that's
thing.
something that most humans. Well, actually, all humans. It's something that just innately happens.
Some people are more empathetic than others, which is
Sure.
fine. It's not
But
like
there's always
something.
something that a human will connect to and at least try to put themselves in another individual's
Yeah.
shoes, typically.
Right.
Or at least that's something that even maybe instinctually happens, even if somebody might deny it for various reasons or whatnot.
I mean, like, example, like Donahue kind of ignores that side of him. And you hear that a little bit, at least, I don't know, like, I can't remember what specific moments, but even just talking with him where he'll be like, I don't feel like dealing with this. I'm going to go back and do what I want to do at my desk.
Yeah.
And not deal with this kid or deal with you. And
Right. I'm wasting time.
I'm wasting time.
It's another number.
And
It's
Christina's pulling at his emotions and trying to say, hey,
trying to get through.
the emotions are what reaches people. You make them laugh, make them cry, anything like that, and it might turn someone to believing you and what you want them to do. I mean, people manipulate others by
Yes.
using their emotions. It happens. So,
Sometimes people do it too well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people will too
Yes,
good at it.
that's very
Lady Macbeth,
accurate.
I'm looking at you, Lady Macbeth.
here's looking at you, kid.
Oh man. No, that's I hope that that's something that people will definitely be able to resonate with, but also just the struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
That's one of the biggest things about this piece is that these are what makes them human. Hopefully, it's the intention. At least is what makes them human is their struggle through their day-to-day grind and how much they've just been put through the ringer. And hopefully, this is a lesson about no matter what, you got to retain some semblance of that empathy. So hopefully that theme gets across.
Yeah. I mean, and I think people are also going to enjoy the banter and sarcasm that are in this as like
we enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely think they're gonna.
I enjoy it, and I've heard it far
too many times.
Far too many times.
But I mean, that's like another thing is like when you like again making someone laugh, it'll be like and then like it switches to the more serious. It's like if you can mash up. I think we mentioned this another time. Was like if you can make someone, even though this is more of a darker, more serious piece.
You need comedy.
You need some form of comedy, and there's that balance in here, which I really do enjoy. And some of the comedy you definitely can see between specifically Christina and Donahue a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's other characters, like even with Michael, like Michael has some one-liners that are, even though Christina should be angry mentally, Lydia is cackling.
Hysterical, yeah.
So it's another human trait that I think people will kind of be like, yes.
Cool.
Pull at that.
Very nice. Well, I think that's all the time we got today. Lydia, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
Seth, thank you so much for being here.
you.
Thank you all so much for watching and or listening. If you're just tuning into this particular episode, what are you doing, man? There's 3 other episodes that have been released beforehand. You might not know what's going on, but we can help you. We'll have links to all the other ones in the description below. If you're curious about what exactly we're talking about here, please feel free to follow R-Cade Productions. That's the letter R and then CADE Productions at all social medias to stay up to date on Smothered and when it's going to be published and how this production keeps going. So thank you all so much again. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Lates.